You're in luck today, friends. I'm sharing with you a taste of family history. This is a fantastic sourdough waffle recipe from Mike's grandma, Maxine. It's been a tradition for generations. Our generation loves them, and our kids do too. First of all, don't be intimidated by the sourdough part. Some people think that sourdough is hard or intimidating, but this is super simple and impossible to ruin. You get delicious waffles every time. We keep our sourdough starter in the fridge and make waffles with it about once a week. There's no feeding the sourdough required and absolutely no waste. If you have a sourdough start already, great. If not, I'll explain more about that in a second. Making sourdough waffles takes a little forethought since you have to start them the night before. The bonus is that it just takes 5 minutes the night before and then you have them half made already when you wake up. So the night before, using a glass or plastic bowl, don't use any metal containers or utensils with sourdough because some metals are reactive with sourdough. Add your sourdough starter, 1 cup, but it doesn't have to be exact. This recipe is very forgiving. 2 cups of flour. We use freshly ground whole wheat flour, but any flour or combination of flours will work. 2 cups of milk. We use powdered milk right now because that's all we've got during our quarantine food storage challenge, but any milk will work, and you could probably use water too. And a teaspoon of sea salt or other non-iodized salt. But truth be told, we've forgotten and used iodized salt before and it still worked out fine. Mix that up so it's smooth. This is called the sponge. Cover it with a dish towel and leave it overnight. You can as much as triple this recipe using the 1 cup of sourdough starter. That's what we usually do since we have a big family who loves these waffles. So that's what I did right here. Added 6 cups of flour, 6 cups of milk, and 3 teaspoons of salt. Okay, we're here in the morning now. You'll notice that your sponge got fluffier overnight. Before you add anything, take a cup of the sponge out. Don't forget, this will be the starter for your next batch of waffles or other sourdough endeavors. Unless you're using it the next day, keep it in the fridge in a plastic or glass container with a lid set on top but not screwed down tightly. Because we use it almost every week, our starter is fine in the fridge without any extra care. If you're going to leave yours unused in the fridge for a month or so, you'll need to learn some of the basics in care and feeding of the sourdough starter. I suggest just making waffles every week. They're worth it and it's easier than taking care of a sourdough starter. Add the following ingredients to your sponge. 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 3 tablespoons of oil, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 eggs. If you're doubling or tripling the recipe, double or triple all of those ingredients that I just told you as well. Like I said, we're tripling the batch to feed our big family. Mix it until smooth. Remember, avoid metal utensils. You'll see that it'll start to get bubbly once the baking soda and baking powder get mixed in there. You don't want to overmix because those bubbles will make your waffles nice and fluffy. Plug in your waffle iron, or irons in our case, to get them hot. If your waffle iron has a variable temperature, make sure it's turned to the waffles setting, or they'll stick to the iron and be a mess to clean up. Ask me how I know that. We usually spray the irons with cooking spray just for the first waffle, then after that they're fine. Cook according to your waffle iron's instructions, whether that means setting a timer or watching for a light to turn off or on. If you like them crispier, leave them for a little longer. We like eating ours with homemade applesauce or homemade berry syrup. We're eager for our raspberries and blackberries to grow this year so that we can make more syrup. If you don't have a sourdough starter, there are a few things you can do. First, ask around in your social network. People love sharing their sourdough starts with others. It's always nice to have a tried and true starter, plus they get better with age. If you can't manage to get a sourdough starter from a friend, you can easily make your own. The leavening in a sourdough starter comes from the natural yeast in the air. It takes just a few minutes each day for a week or so, and then it's ready to be used or stuck in the fridge. You can even freeze a spare cup in case something happens to your active starter or you forget to take the cup out. I won't go into the details for making your own starter here, but rest assured that you'll find loads of tutorials around the internet. Okay, go make some delicious sourdough waffles and let me know how they turn out.